How's it going?
Good. How are you, Hayden?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. It's a sweet background you got there.
Yeah, I know. I'm in my office actually. It's away from my dog. He's allowed. So
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect podcast setup right there.
yep.
Um, well, I'm just stalking your Instagram a little bit. It caught my eye the first time I saw it. I was like, dang, I got to get this guy on here. He has been quite literally all over the world, it looks like.
A little bit.
And but before we get into all that,
Yeah.
where curious, where did you grow up? What was kind of your childhood like? Did you hunt as a kid? What was growing up like?
So actually I grew up in Nebraska. So I'm from like basically like the Kansas Nebraska border. The small town actually is Guide Rock, Nebraska, but very few people are gonna know where that is.
Yeah.
It's 250 people.
Oh my
My
goodness.
yeah. We still farm down there. My parents do at least, cattle and everything, ag land. Um, that's where I'm from. And actually, my dad used to hunt when he was younger, and then his father passed away, kind of, so he kind of got away from it. So when I came in, actually, no one really in my family actually hunted when I initially started. So then I started like kind of and my dad had plenty of buddies that hunted, so I actually went with a couple of his buddies on like a mentor hunt because in Nebraska you can start hunting at I think 12 it is. I don't know if they changed it. But Kansas is like, I don't know, it is younger. I think I was like 10 when I started in Kansas.
Okay.
Um, so that's kind of initially started with that and then just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then now we're here.
That's awesome. And so are you still in Nebraska or where are you at now?
No, I'm actually on the Western Slope. I'm in Rifle, Colorado. So
Nice.
me and my wife actually work. We're in the healthcare field. So we're both used to be. I'm here. I signed a 2-year contract. So I'm used to be a traveling physical therapist. But now we've been here for about just over 2.5 years. So
Okay.
we signed a 2-year deal. So I'll be here at least till August, and then we're just playing it by ear.
And so you said you used to be a traveling
Yep.
PT?
Yeah. So we kind of settled down. We have a house out here right now, and we signed a 2-year deal to stay, and then we're just here at least for a little while. You know what I mean? Just playing it by ear. But
Gotcha.
it's home for right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's a good spot to be. It's a good
Yeah.
area.
Yep.
So, and then I saw on your Instagram it says consulting agency. Is that who you work for? Is that what you're doing?
So yeah, that's kind of like my side thing, and I've done it I started out initially with Africa just because we've been over there 3 times now, and I'm really good friends with the guy I basically kind of work with most of the time, and so I started out with that, and then I hunted with other outfits. So basically, outfits I've hunted with and I get along with, and been there. I think the biggest thing is just going to places because nowadays there's so many consulting agencies that recommend it, but they don't ever go there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
everyone I've been to, I kind of know, so it's reliable and I get along with. And you're not gonna get screwed over because nowadays you never know kind of what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's especially
So
social media.
so just to be clear, and if
Yeah.
anyone's interested, you basically will help set somebody up with a hunt. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Yeah, I do all over places I've been, so like Alaska, Spain, Mexico, Africa, kind of all the southern African countries, Greenland I've been to.
Yeah.
Basically kind of ones I've been on to that I enjoy and are reliable, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
But
And
yeah,
so is
yeah.
that kind of what you're wanting to do full time, or maybe you are doing it full time already?
No, I'm not doing it full time, but I do. It is busy. Very, it gets very busy, but I enjoy it. So it's kind of like my second job, but I just enjoy it. I probably don't make very much from it, but it's just a good time, and I meet a lot of people. I think more than anything, it's just I meet great people, and I can make their dreams come true too. So I think that's honestly the best thing. I mean, I met so many people that I've hunt with afterwards that there might be clients, but I call them friends more than anything.
That's awesome. And so do
Yeah.
people just find you on Instagram? Is that the best way, or how do people contact you?
Yeah, usually on Instagram. I got a website going right now. It's not done yet, but and then I have LLC. It's actually Legacy Hunting Adventures. So I'll have a website up and everything like that. So
Cool.
it's kind of long.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll put your Instagram in the description, and I'll get your website too, so I can get that posted if anyone's interested. Cause yeah, that's legit. And
Yeah, no,
so you grew up in Nebraska, you're in Colorado now. I mean, like I said, you've been just about everywhere. Is your lifestyle right now, how does that keep up with traveling the world like you have? I mean, are you able to get deals? Is it just like you just dump everything into these hunts? It's like how
no.
are you doing it? It's incredible.
A lot of it's just like kind of like networking, and then like I know a couple of friends that travel a lot all over the world already, that I'm really close with. And so I've been I follow some of their paths too. So like outfits they've been to, and then some discounted hunts too. But
That's
a lot of
awesome.
like a lot of times I find a lot of small names, I would say, that are reliable that previous people have been with. But they're not big. So I mean, a lot of your big names nowadays are pretty well known. So it's
Yeah.
pretty easy for them to book high end clients, I would say, or high end people. But for me, like I'm not gonna throw everything out, but
No, you don't need to. I just
no,
like
no, no, I'm just saying, yeah, I don't throw everything at it, but a lot of times it's just through word of mouth. Like some people don't have websites, or they just book off Facebook. You know what I mean? Like that's a couple of my Alaska people. They don't even have websites, but he's been around. He's a master guide, so he's been around for 20, 25 years doing it, but he does fine without. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's a lot of small name people, smaller name outfits. I would say some of them are getting pretty big, but that's a lot of times where I found people and can afford it, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. No, that's kind of a good tip, honestly, for a lot of guys to look into. Because yeah, I feel like we just see the surface level, big
Correct.
names. It's like, well, not going to do that for 20 years. Like, so that's cool that you kind of found a way to make it happen.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I would say for that is just I have a lot of people that have been there previously, or you call references the biggest thing. Or like if you see them like rock slide or places like that, I'm pretty active on. You can kind of see stuff, especially in the forums, and you kind of figure out who's good, who's bad a little bit, because not all of them are going to be good. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Um, you just have to do your research, especially nowadays.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, all right, I want to jump into some
Yep.
hunting. Explain to us what's the dangerous 7 and the super 10. What are those? Because you're starting to notch off that list. It looks like. What
So
are those?
there's obviously the big five, which is like your rhino, elephant, lion, leopard. What am I forgetting? Cape buffalo. Okay, and then the danger 7 add on to that is going to be your hippo and crocodile. So that's your dangerous 7. Big 5, danger 7. Both are pretty substantial. A lot of times I always say that I like the 7, but a lot of people say the 5. And then obviously your super 10's just one of each species of the super slam. So obviously I'm not gonna be able to name off the top of my head, but it's like your antelope category, your bear, you have different bears, black bear, brown bear, polar bear. So one of those out of the categories. Antelopes by itself, mountain goats by itself, sheep, you obviously have your 4 sheep, lion, what am I? Caribou, moose, what am I? Deer. I know I'm forgetting some, but basically it's all of the species in North America. Then obviously they have multiple underneath that category, except for like your antelope only has one, your mountain lion and mountain goat. Oh, I forgot the bison and muskox as a category.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep, yep. So I think I'm forgetting one more, but yeah, that's kind of your super 10. So I got most of them done. I would say it's just the most expensive left, which I didn't draw my moose tag this year, so I didn't get my moose, but I have moose, sheep, and goat left, mountain goat.
Is
So
the
basically,
is the moose in Alaska you're trying to get, or where are you trying to get?
yep, in Alaska. I think I can. I mean, there's moose. You can find some pretty good deals. You can go to Canada too. I'd like to get all the three moose species eventually, because I think that's possible. The sheep, you know how it is with sheep,
Yep. Yep.
especially for the lower 48. It's slim pickings.
It is. No, it is. So, well, that's cool. I didn't know. I didn't realize the Super 10 was a thing. I hadn't really heard that before. That's pretty
Yep.
cool list.
Yeah.
Um, tell us about your muskox. I don't want to go into any detail, and I'm going to let you explain that hunt. But let's hear about this muskox.
So that hunt kind of came out of the blue. So it's kind of like a last minute cancellation I got in Greenland. That would have been last year. Yeah, last year in August I went. So it was a muskox caribou combo. So we got a great deal. I mean, you can't beat it anywhere. Because basically over there it's pretty reasonable still, compared to like your Alaska or your Northwest Territories. Just because the muskox aren't as big as those in Alaska Northwest Territories. They're pretty big, but they're similar, I would say. There's not you get a lot of your boot and croc, it's going to be coming from Alaska or the Northwest Territories, especially. But it's affordable, I'd say, up there. So the biggest thing there, and I realized it too, they started flying from basically New York to Greenland kind of direct. But the only problem with that, they only fly certain days. So the bad thing about going there, I went from Denver to Iceland to Denmark, and then back from Denmark all the way back to Greenland. So basically pass it on the way from Iceland to Denmark. So it kind of that kind of sucks. But the travel was long. I mean, that's the worst part. But anyways, kind of once you get there, we were hunting off a lake basically. So we took a boat, and then we camped out right beside a lake. And I don't know if you watched any muskox YouTube videos, but
no, but I'm going to after this. Yeah.
They make it seem pretty easy. I tell you what, I should have probably YouTube mine, but mine was nothing compared to those. I feel like we started off, and I think first day there was 4 total people in camp. There was, I can't even remember, Robert, I know, was in camp, and another couple other people. I hunted with Robert, guy from California. But so there was 4 of us, so we basically had 8 animals in 5 days with the caribou. So it started off, they got a muskox the first day, and then we didn't get anything. We didn't see anything special, at least the first day. I was shooting his gun. He had a Fierce gun with the Night Force scope. Let's kind of going on a tangent real quick. But he brought it, and it's not his fault or anything like that. He just didn't tighten down the elevation so you can have a 0 stop on it. He didn't tighten it down all the way. So we sighted in, it was perfect, shooting great. So then we start, when you dial up and down. So we were dialing up and down on a caribou, and I don't miss very often. I mean, I miss, but everyone does it. But man, I felt good. So we stalked in a caribou. It was probably, I don't know, 300 yards. We set up there it felt like forever just to get it. He was laying down, bedded down, porting hard away. And we're like, do you want to shoot? Like, I feel pretty confident. And he's like, well, it's up to you. I was like, I'll just wait. So we sat there for probably like an hour.
Wow.
And then he stood up, and then they instead of like standing up stretching, they got up and started moving. So anyway, he started moving, feeding away. And then he's like 320. So it wasn't too bad still. And then so they stopped, shot. It was like a foot low, I'd say. So then I'm like, okay, fine. Shoot again, the same thing. So then we're like, okay, maybe it was me, you know what I mean? Okay, I was like, okay. Next thing you know, so we go for another caribou. It was probably like 200-yard shot this time. Same thing.
No.
So then so 3 shots, we're like, okay, we got to test this again. We shot it, went back to camp. It was like a foot low at 100 yards because I think when we were dialing up and down, every time we went down, it would click down past that stop.
Oh, dang, yeah.
So then when even if you didn't dial up, it just kept getting lower and lower and lower. So then we figured that out, which we didn't really know till later on. So we used the Camps rifle. After that, it kind of went smooth. But I think the first day, for about every day, we averaged, I'd say, like 42 to 44,000 steps.
Wow.
So we were going like, I'd say at least 10 to 15 miles, almost pretty close to every day.
Wow.
And some of the videos I've seen, man, they go to camp and they shoot it. It seems like 200 yards away. But for
This
ours,
wasn't the case, huh?
yeah, we went a long ways. But no, so I think the other group was tagged out by like the third day, and we didn't have anything by the third day, so it was kind of getting frustrating.
Yeah.
I try to stay level headed, especially hunting, because there's ups and downs. You know how it is. But man, I tell you what, going into, I'm thinking, man, this is supposed to be an easy hunt. But at the end of the third day, we saw Muscox probably like a mile and a half away, right at last light. I wouldn't say last light, a couple hours before last light. So we hauled ass all the way over there. Just me and the guy. The other guy went back to camp because we were busting just at rest for the last 2 days. He just went back to camp just to rest. So we hauled ass over there, got over there. It was like 225-yard shot, set up, hit it, shot him once, hit him good, shot him again. He was down, dead. So then that was good. That was the pressure kind of went off after that. But then, because we started about, I'd say 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we shot him pretty close. I don't know. It had to be 7 or 8. I don't remember exactly. And then it's just me and the guide. The packer went down with the other hunter, so it's just me and the guide to carry out a huge muskox. I mean, they're not enormous, but they're pretty damn big. So he carried the hide and the skull, and then I carried basically a front shoulder and one of the back quarters, and then some of the back straps. And we went down, took a load. We were probably like, I would say 800 feet up, and then we had to go down, and we're gonna go to the lake, and they're gonna pick us up. So we went down, got that, came back. I think it was like 11:30 when we got back, and then we got down again at probably like 1 o'clock. And I think when we looked at the end of the day, it was like 52,000 steps.
Whoa.
So and the worst thing.
What is the terrain like? Is it a tundra type, or what are you walking on out there?
It's tundra because it's north of the Arctic Circle, but so there's no trees. But it's similar to like your caribou ground up in like Prudhoe Bay up there, like that northern part. Okay. But the worst thing about the time when we went, it was rainy. It's usually not that rainy that time of year we went, but there was probably like in the valleys, at least when we went through the valleys up to like, it was like, I wouldn't say they're mountains. They are technically mountains, but they're like rolling hills. I'd say it's similar to. So you're basically go up to the peak, and then you can glass, and then you go down, and then just keep going up and down. Some are bigger than others, obviously. But the worst thing is just they got so much rain that the valleys, every time you went through a valley, you were soaked. You know what I mean? So you're basically, your boots are soaked the whole day. So then you're rubbing. I've had so much Luca tape on. I was blistered all over. But you just push through. I tell you what, it was painful, but
who knew a muskox would put you through so much?
I know. And that was the third day, and we finally had one of the 4 animals in my group. So the next day, the other guy tagged out with a great caribou and a muskox, and then the last day I got my caribou, thank God. But I mean, we worked a lot harder. Even I talked to the guide still. He's a good friend still. But we talked. He's like, that's probably like the hardest I've hunted for a hunt, because we basically went from sun up to sundown. I think the only day we took a break was when we got back at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We slept in like an hour the next day. But that's really it. Actually, that muskox, I told my dad I was trying to get him to go. They only had one spot, so he goes on a lot of hunts with me. And I was like, Dad, you're lucky you didn't go. I think it would have killed you.
That would have been the end of the road.
Yeah. No, but it was definitely a good time. But just the expectation was not what I thought. But I mean, it would turn out great. But I know not to think what you see on YouTube and everything is always true, like you say.
Jeez, yeah. So with the like meat and stuff, do you take the meat? I'm assuming, I don't know, how do you mount it? What are you gonna do mount wise?
So I just got basically their tanner over there. The biggest thing is they send it from Greenland to Denmark. Okay. And they'll send it from Denmark to the States. But I just got everything tanned. So I got the back cool. Skin, and then like the cape, and then the skull, and then I just have the caribou. Same thing with the caribou. And then I have buddy out in Grand Junction, Ben Garner. He does like skull replicas. So I think I'm going to do a replica for the Muscox. So I'll put the replica on the shoulder mount, and then I'll keep. I kind of like the European of the Muscox. You don't see it very often, actually. So that's the only reason. I don't know if I'll hunt a muskox again, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a good time.
That's cool. And then did you say have you guys tried any of the meat yet? Is it back? I don't know.
No, the biggest thing you can't technically take any meat back from Greenland or like
Oh,
Africa.
really? Okay.
Yeah, USDA basically. So in certain areas I think you can, but I don't think it has to be labeled. But at least they say you can't take anything back from Greenland. I know New Zealand, I've heard people take meat back from, but wise, then I don't know if it's Denmark or most of the time it's the United States with the USDA that they don't allow meat to come back in.
Gotcha.
But we basically ate a lot in camp. So like we basically had caribou and muskox almost every day or every night in different variations. But
Gotcha.
it was very good. I tell you what, it was great. The caribou was bad. They weren't in the rut. I never shot a caribou in the rut, but I've heard they say it's not the best. But the muskox was fantastic. I tell you what, it was great.
No, that's awesome. So because how long were you gone on that trip? Was it like a week or something?
Yeah. So, well, it took like, I think about a day and a half to get there and a day and a half back, I think. So it was about, I think 10 days total I was gone, with flights. And then I think I was over there, like I was in Greenland, I think 6 or 7 days. And then I was in Denmark, like 2 almost, with 1 there, 1 back. So I'd say that's the only problem with going there. It's just, they don't have many flights there. And then a lot of locals too. So there's I can't think of the town on the western side right off the top of my hand, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's like Kangaruska or whatever. I just call it kangaroo, which is not a problem. Don't do that, but Nuke is the area. So there's direct from New York to Nuke. But Nuke's, a lot of locals in that Kangaruska town aren't happy just because they put Nuke as like the headquarters for flights to come in now. I was at actually Nashville. I was talking to another Greenland outfit. And they actually recently told me that they changed the flight to go from Denmark to Nuke instead of stopping in that Kangaroo town before, because you usually stop there before and then they go on to Nuke.
Oh, okay.
But Nuke's on the coast. So the only problem with that, and why I went my route, I guess I should say, instead of going Nuke to New York, is that New York to Nuke flight gets canceled almost 50%. Because it's on the coast, so it gets so windy, and then it's wind cancels a lot, and then weather, it changes so much weather-wise. The deeper you get into like September, October, the more cancellations you get. I think one guy, the group before us that were hunting, their flight got canceled 2 days in a row getting out. So they were hanging there. So that's the only problem, is just getting there. But like nowadays that's common even in the States. So it might not be as long, but it seems like internationally you're gonna have that sooner or later.
Right. Yeah. You almost got to leave a couple days early just in case.
Yeah. I got the day early just in case.
Dang. So, last thing on this hunt, when you got out there, was there something you wish you would have brought, or something that you would recommend to somebody that you're like, dang, I did not expect this or that you would recommend to somebody going to take?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I think what saved me, I'll be honest, and I had it, thank God, and I bring it with me, was that Luca tape. I have it right here, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this stuff, I tell you what, it's been beat up, but it saved me so much. And then gators too. Gators are very like the brush isn't bad. I had mine, but it just helps. It's not super high. I would say certain areas you get to like mid shin, maybe to knee, but it does help because it's just so wet. So I'd say the drier you can, especially the boots, you're gonna. I mean, I don't think we would have beat it either way with conditions, but that was very helpful. And then the one thing I might have brought, and this is just me, I usually travel with my gun a lot of places. I might have brought my gun, but with try to But I just didn't want to go through the hassle because I mean it's not that hard. The guy I went with, he brought his, but I might have brought mine this time.
Yeah, I
How it
don't
went
blame
down.
you.
I mean, it was a great caribou I missed, but I mean, I don't regret anything the way it went down. It's just the way it goes. It's hunting. But that's the one thing I might do. It's just I usually bring it 90, I'd say 90% of the time, but this time the green chose not to.
That's funny. Yeah, those are good ones. Because yeah, it sucks to be wet on your feet, your legs, and yeah, it makes sense. Blisters could ruin a hunt. So
Yeah.
that's a good one. All right, transitioning. I want to keep talking hunts with you here, if that's all right with you.
Good.
So let's just go right down the list here. I'm gonna talk about your 3 that are on the top of your Instagram. So let's go on to this hippo. Is that one that you were shooting, or were you guiding it?
No, I was actually shooting that one. So it basically got a depredation permit over there. The guy I was with, I was like, hey, I want a hippo if it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see many people hunting hippos nowadays. So
You don't.
so I actually told him, and I was like, hey, if it's a chance, let me know. You know what I mean? Because they have some basically that harass some of the locals in areas.
Oh yeah.
So basically, like they're worried about them like harming the tribes, locals, everything like that. So they basically like a nuisance permit. So we were over there, and they're like, hey, we got this bull over here. He's in the orange trees. So there's basically an orange farm around where it's close to Kruger National Park, just west of there. So it's in South Africa. But
Okay.
Kruger National Park is just like multi-million hectares, like your national park. So like you can't hunt in it. But it's huge. So it basically has all basically the Danger 7, Big 5, everything's there. So we're hunting not too far away from there. So a lot of your hippos, elephants, stuff like that kind of roam out of there sometimes. So this hippo came off this river system. I can't pronounce the town we're near, so I'm not going to try. But the river system is basically right by this orange farm. Okay, so we were hunting for a couple days. We're right around northern South Africa, like Polokwane to like all the way up to Botswana, Zimbabwe, right on the border. So we were hunting for a couple days, and like the guy he's like, hey, I got to call the hippo's back. And they're worried about it chasing because it chased a couple locals. So like they're worried about it killing someone. Okay, so like, all right, just say when, you know what I mean? So
like I'll be the hero. Let me know.
Yeah, so so they told me that, and then they're like, let's go down tomorrow. It should still be there because it usually goes in spurts. So coming back and stay for a couple days, and then it would leave most times. This time they came in, and then they're just worried about it basically killing someone in there. So like, we just need to get rid of it. We got the permit, so they're like, thumbs up, everything's clear. So we drive down there that next day. They had some people already there watching it, so it was already there. So it was just right off the river system, just in a pond. So we're watching it. It was right, I'd say maybe 10 feet, 20 feet into the pond. So we set up, wait for it. It comes up probably halfway, so you can see majority of it. And when you saw it, it was big. It was a big bull. I mean, I don't know if you saw the picture, but
yeah,
like you won't see many bulls bigger than that. I didn't know what to expect until like now I've seen a good amount of hippos to compare to, but like when that happened, I didn't know how big it was. But when Tossie did the outfitter I was with, he's like, that's a big bull. Then that's he doesn't lie. So we had a 416 Rigby set up just on like a tripod setup. He comes out and shot once, hit him just a hair low. So you basically tried to shoot him right in the brain. So you put him down right away, just because it's easier if you don't. And then it gets kind of Western. So
yeah, well, they're so dangerous, right? You gotta get him down.
Yeah. So we hit hair low. It got a little Western. So he went back into the middle, shot him again in the water, and then he started coming towards land. And Tossed the guy was with.
You hit him the second time too, and he's still.
Yeah, he was there. I tell you what, they're tough. I tell you what. Yeah. So second time he turns around and they go underwater. So like it's quick shots too. Like after the first shot, it's like everything throws out the window. So you're like, just get this thing down. Okay. So second time shoot it, and then it's after the second time it starts turning towards land. And so there's two other guys there with us, 450 nitros, everything like that set up. So all of a sudden there's two more guns just in case that came up because he started getting pretty close, and he was probably like, he's still probably like 30, 40 yards away down the bank kind of. He started coming towards the bank and he's getting out of the water. And then I hit him one more time and he turned around and then he disappeared. And then he didn't come up again. So like, okay, thank God. But we were hoping we'd get him on land, at least halfway. So that didn't go as planned, but we got I got to shoot it. They didn't shoot it, which was good. That's what I kind of wanted. Unless it like came to like a deadly situation, they were going to step in to help. But it went smooth. And then for just like the hippos, they actually float, which I didn't know that. So after a period of time, they'll come up and float on top of the water. So they basically, after you shoot them, they kind of sink. So we just like what it's like, depending on what hippo it is, kind of male or female too. It depends how they come up. At least what they told me is like most of your bulls come up with like the rump up because they usually have a huge butt. And then females come with feet up usually for some reason. So anyways, it was like probably, and we tried throwing like this grappling hook. And we touched it a couple times. You can kind of feel, but like when we pull, it just straightened the hook. So we basically just wait. I think it was like 2.5 hours. We waited, and then it finally came up. And then
you can't pull a school bus up from the bottom of the pond.
Yes. Yeah. So we basically we had someone swim out there to hook on once it floated to hook onto its leg, and then we had there was probably like I'd say 20 people there just from like local community and everything because like we didn't get to keep any meat, we just they got the skull and everything, but I couldn't transport it to the States because it's like a nuisance permit. So basically it just stays there. But so once we got it there,
so is it on display? Is it on display with your name under it out there somewhere? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I make sure. I told him to take care of it.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. I can't wait. I haven't been back since to like pick it up. I mean, just like to hold it, I guess. But it's sitting waiting for me. But the only I guess the only thing we were nervous about after the hippo, just there's some crocodiles in there. So the biggest thing is just being wary of if there were much around. But we never did see any after the situation. But we got it out, and basically everyone chipped in to butcher it. And it didn't take very long actually. They're pretty good with knives and everything. Africa, basically nothing goes to waste over there. So. So that's kind of how it went, but it was definitely it was an experience. I enjoyed it actually.
Oh, that's incredible. Because you've been to Africa a few times, what's it like? What was your experience with the culture and the people? Because it sounds like when you go hunt there, a lot of people get involved.
Yeah. So like in all honesty, like their trackers over there, so they basically have Africans over there that are very great at tracking. I tell you what, like they've grown up in the bush. So like I was with them a couple times especially my dad. He was with me the first couple times, but he wounded an impala and like he hit it a little bit farther back, and the trackers were with us. And this is kind of like the first time we were over there, I experienced it. But there's like, I tell you what, there had to be 50 to 100 different tracks going all different ways. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those trackers, I don't know how they do it. Like I ask them, like, but like it wasn't communication the tracker I was with, he's called Will. He's very intelligent. He can speak like 6 different languages. Wow. So he kind of knows everything. But I'm telling you what, when there's so many animals, because I mean, you have just so many plains games out there. So you'll see kudu, eland, gemsbuck, everything across that path of the impala we were on. You know what I mean? But somehow. They just stay on it, which amazes me because, like I said, once you go over there, there's just so many different tracks going different ways. I don't know how they keep up with it. So the trackers are a huge part. So that's usually like one of the important things. Unless, I mean, you know, obviously you never want to wound an animal, but if it happens, I mean, some of their trackers are probably some of the best in the world over there. In all honesty, like I don't think tractors are more important than besides Africa. You know what I mean? Because especially like a lot of times with your big five, like I would say your lion, leopard, anything like that. Sometimes buffalo, elephants, you do a lot of spot stock. So those trackers make your money because those are some of the most dangerous animals in the world that they can turn back on you. And then a lot of times, and then you have your skinners, everything like that. So basically, I'd say the biggest thing with hunting Africa is in conservation in general. You have to put a value on animals or they'll eliminate them, basically, if that makes sense. So if you don't put a value, like let's say on like a leopard or anything, the tribe will basically eliminate them because they're either harvesting their cows or goats or anything like that. So why would they protect them? You know what I mean? So it's kind of a win-win. It's win for the animal as well as win for the tribal community because they get income from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if there's no point in saving them, those animals will basically, I wouldn't say they're going extinct, but they're going to be eradicated, most of them, just because that's a way of life over there. I mean, I wish it's a way simpler life over there than it is here, I would say. The biggest thing is like they don't have much technology compared to us. Like they wild game, like selling wild game and trading stuff, like bartering for that is like legal over there. So like they can do whatever they want with wild game. And like if they want to go for impala, most times they just go out for impala and can shoot it. You know what I mean? Like compared to here, it's like nowadays we don't have that issue anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different ball game, and I mean it's kind of cool to see because it's probably like that way back here centuries ago, but they're still, I mean, no offense, but they're still kind of in the past over there. But a lot of people don't want to change. You know what I mean? They enjoy it, like that's their way of life, and that's how they like it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm not saying this is rude or anything like that, but a lot of people judge about Africa hunting, but they never been there. So they kind of critique it, but then they voice their opinion and change things, but they never been there. So I think it's just a hard thing for just to see it from the outside because most of those people want it that way. You know what I mean?
No, that's super interesting. I've never heard this. And I've talked to a couple of guys that have been to Africa, but I've never heard that the people there, it's almost a filter for them to not basically kill all the animals themselves because they would, and that makes sense. They're, I mean, a danger to their family, their lifestyle, their living, whatever. And so that makes sense. I've never heard that. So that is a way better way to look at it, I bet, for a lot of people.
No, it is. And it also, I mean, it obviously depends in certain areas. Some areas are more commercialized in like South Africa, but you're like northern countries, I would say northern of the southern countries like Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, everything like that. It's just a lot more, less people, more animals, and then more conflicts with animals too. And some of them can be prevented, I would say, but a lot of times it's either the tribe or the animal. You know what I mean? Most it's going to go. Obviously, they're going to take it out if they can. You know what I mean? To protect themselves.
No, that's interesting. Did your wife? Because you said you're married, right?
Yep.
Does your wife go with you on any of these trips? Like, did she go to Africa any of those times?
She has not been to Africa. She hasn't been there yet. I'm trying to talk her into going. Planning going back next year, actually.
Cool.
But yeah, she went to Spain with me. She's been to Alaska. So she goes on some of them. It just depends like what it is. She's not a big snake fan and not a big cold, you know what I mean? But she does.
Yeah, did you see snakes in Africa while you were there then? You see any?
I saw the black mamba basically. So I've seen that a couple times, and yeah, those things, they're pretty cool to see, but I mean, I don't like hanging around them, but I mean, I don't know if I can't remember what the facts are on it, but I think they can stand up on like 2/3 of their body. So only a third of their body can be on the ground. So they're quick. I'll tell you what. They're like you're like water moccasins. They got kind of like an attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they yeah, it's interesting seeing them, especially to see how deadly they are, you know what I mean? Because
For
I
sure.
don't have much experience with, I'd say, like really, really poisonous snakes. But yeah, just to see them was I could just do that once, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I hate snakes as well. Uh, I'm curious, with your wife, how do you manage your guys' relationship going on hunts? Is she just cool with you going? Is it kind of like a give and take thing here and there? How do you guys manage that?
Yeah, it's like a give and take. Obviously, the fall is usually, I mean, pretty busy depending on time, like what tags I have, and I try to plan things in advance too. Is the biggest thing, so I kind of have a mark down unless like a last minute thing comes up or anything like that. So usually, like I usually try to do like a hunt every month, depending on like what it is. Especially in Colorado, there's so many opportunities as well as in Nebraska too. I still go back there a lot. But yeah, so usually the fall, like I try to do one a month and then be home at least a couple weekends a month, depending on who draws tags and what. Um, but usually the summer and like I'd say the spring and some of the winter is usually I'm mostly home 99% of the time or a lot around home just hanging around. But yeah, you definitely have to pick and choose your like where you're gonna do, and it's like pick and choose your battles. You know what I mean? I don't want battle, but we communication I definitely think is key, and
Yeah.
I can't thank her enough. Yeah, I've probably gone more than I should. I'll be honest, but no, I love her dearly. But yeah, usually the fall, and then the fall wasn't too bad this last year. But then with show season, I went to a lot of shows. That kind of puts that's those shows. I mean, they're great. I love networking. Don't get me wrong, but man, yeah, I like talking a lot, but they wear you out, even for me.
That. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a ton of social.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I can imagine. No, that's awesome that you guys can do that, and it's cool to have a wife that supports you, and because not everybody has that, so it's really cool
Yep, yep.
to be in that club that you can say my wife supports me, and you guys
Yeah.
kind of are able to do that.
No, yeah, I think like I said, the biggest thing is communication. And you got to set boundaries. You know what I mean? If you don't, then you're gonna. I mean, I try to push them still, even though I know. You know what I mean? But I'm
Yep.
honest, so
Oh, I know what you mean.
I try to be honest as much as possible, which is I think the best thing you can do in a relationship.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's awesome. So with Alaska, did she go with you on this bear hunt? Was she out there for that one?
No, she didn't. We went fishing last year, and then to Kodiak. She didn't go on that one either. But that one was like I was out, and that was a long hunt too. I was actually out there. I was supposed to be out there 10 days. I think I was out there like 13 or 14, if I remember right.
Wow.
Um, just because I went in early before the season started for the basically it's considered a brown bear technically off Boone and Crockett. I'm not going to get picky on this. I consider more of a grizzly just
Yeah.
because I shot it at in the kind of Alaskan range I was at. But I got in there like a day or two early, if I remember right. And then it was, man, we saw so many bears. It was great, fabulous. And then Alaska does its thing, and the weather went to shit.
Yep.
And it was grind for like the next like almost 10 days. So I think I went in 2 days early, and then I stayed another I think 2 days almost. So because I shot my bear like on the 9th day of hunting, so it was technically like 11th day I was there. But then I couldn't get out for another 2 or 3 days because fog and rain.
Oh
So
yeah.
so basically, and I think like 6 of the days, I mean, we got out a little bit, but you couldn't see more than maybe 25, 50 yards from where we're
Mm.
glassing. I spent a lot of time, and I tell you what, like that hunt was, I was in great shape. Everything I trained pretty good. I try to train always just before fall. I wish I was more consistent throughout the whole year, but, I felt great, like physically, but man, I tell you what, that hunt was like mentally, like, and I even tell everyone, my wife, my mom, everything. I was like on my inReach, like, man, this is hard because when you sit in the tent for like, I think we sat in there like almost 7 days total.
Whoa.
And there, I mean, we had like maybe a day gap, but like, it gets old. And you can only read. Like I brought like a book, and I don't think I finished a book that fast in my entire life. You know what I mean? I'm not a big reader, but
You were that weak.
I was, but like I
Wow.
said, just mentally. I mean, but I mean, I think it helped me in the long run. But I tell you what, it was probably the most. It was challenging. I'm not going to deny it.
Is there any way to prepare for that mentally, or is it like you've just gotta be ready to suck it up? Like,
The guy kind of told me like bring a book, like, and even he said we talk about this. I was still in contact with him too. I know a couple people that hunted with him after I did, but we talk about it. He's like, I think that was the worst hunt I've ever been on. And I don't know if he says that every time, but he's like, yeah, that, usually we don't get socked in for like that many days, but I think the only thing I could have did better, I think, was like nowadays there's so many podcasts, you know what I mean, like everything like that. I'd download like stuff beforehand, but
oh yeah,
like, the good and bad thing with that, I had a battery pack, but you don't want to drain it too fast because I was using my inReach as well as my phone, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's kind of like, so like I would use my phone a little bit and then I'd shut it off and then try to read my book, but like I don't know how you prepare for it, honestly. I mean, if someone has something better that I would enjoy, I'd be all up for it. But
Oh, man. No, because I've heard that from I haven't been on a hunt where I've been isolated like that yet, but
yeah,
I've heard that the mental side of it's like usually harder than the
yep,
physical. Like physical is usually tough, but I've
yep.
heard that several times now. And so I'm just, it's funny. I'm like, man, is there any way to prepare? Or is it just you go
Yeah,
out and it's a unique experience?
I honestly, I don't know. I've heard that from like a couple of sheep hunters that have been socked in for multiple days, but like I don't know. I wasn't definitely wasn't expecting it to. So I don't know. Mindset probably is the biggest thing. And yeah, I did not think we were gonna. It was like the last inning, you know what I mean? And I did not think we were getting a bear, but
Jeez. So yeah. So how'd you end up getting it? Yeah, tell us the story.
yeah, so basically I'll kind of skipped. I mean, we saw so many, like I said, we saw some great bears right away in the hunt. Like right, and then when season opens, it just everything went to shit, which you don't expect, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So then we saw like maybe two or three others throughout that neck, maybe a couple more that I videoed and everything. But they're like, we were probably pushing like at least 3/4 mile away or something. Had our spotters and we could see it way out there. But and once I shot my bear, I kind of realized it too. Because like I think this was like probably 5 years. I think 5 years ago. So I'm like, I'm all gung ho. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Like we can go 10 miles. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But once I shot my bear, I kind of realized like, man, this shit is thick.
Yeah.
Through alders, and then we had to cross a couple creeks. So when I was actually the guide was glassing one way. We were on top of this kind of plateau, so we can glass back and kind of like foothills behind us, and then down into like a valley, like I'd say about 60% around us, and then everything we could see. It's like a great spot. You basically just glass, and then and we could see far away, like probably 1 to 2 miles easy.
Oh, wow.
So at least in the valley down below. So I was glassing and I'm like, and the worst thing about, I mean, it's not the worst thing, but you get good at glassing because it's this like you go and kind of get into a lull because you're glassing and looking over the same area for constantly the whole day, you know what I mean? So then kind of get into a lull, and it's not the best thing, you know what I mean? Because then you're not as sharp. But I was like glassing, doing my normal routine. I try to change it up just because if I don't, then I think it's like reading a book when you read and then you go back and like, what the hell did I just read?
Yeah.
It felt like the same thing with glassing. So I kind of broke it up, and then I'm like, I look over and then I scan, I see like a brown spot. And then I think I went by the first time, and then I kind of like I caught like kind of movement. You know, the biggest thing is catch movement when you're glassing. So I look back, and it's like a brown bear. I'm like, oh, thank God. I think I was so excited. and I knew like where he's at. It's like good stalking, I thought, you know what I mean? So I told the guy, I'm like, he's like, where is that? I'm like, right there. You can see him just with your open eye, you know, you can see him. So he's like, okay. He's like, we might as well try. I was like, thank God. so then we started going down. we had to cross 2 creeks to get there. And like the worst thing about where we were at is just, I mean, most of the areas there too, we had to go through alders. And I don't know if you've been through alders, but man, those
Nope.
things, they're so slippery and it's so dense in there. So, and you never know what's going to come out of there. I didn't think anything was in there, but you just never know. So we
Yeah.
go down, you go across through alders, and then you get across the creek. So thank God you have gaiters on. And then you go back up, across alders again. And then we got up there, and then we had to cross another creek. And in my mind, it's like, I think it was probably close to an hour at least when we were getting up to the last creek crossing. And then he was going to be probably another like 300-400 yards max. So I'm like, man, this bear's like gone. Like, no, like we're so loud in this creek bottom and coming up it. So we finally get through it, come up on the bottom, and this bear's like working toward us. It's probably like 150 yards away. So I'm like,
Whoa.
and so like, thank God. I think for me at least, like if things happen quick, like I do way better than waiting, in my opinion, because you just don't overthink. Like in the
Yeah.
moment, so I got up there and chambered around. I get on my pack. My pack's too low. So he's like, here, take my pack. I was like, thank God. Because so he had a Barney's pack, great pack, by the way, for packing out
Nice.
stuff. So it just had a higher basically frame so I could shoot off of, because I mean the brush was probably like, I'd say, I don't know, just above your knee high. So when you're like kneeling anything. So this bear's kind of working and he ranged it. It's like 100, I think 26, I think he said in the beginning. We kind of talked about this afterwards, but he said it and like I knew everything. Like I've been shooting so much, so I was like, perfect. You know what I mean? This is like a chip shot, easy. So I pull up, shoot once, I hit both lungs, just blew right through, and then it was like a little knoll. So then I reloaded again. He's like, and beforehand he asked me in certain situations, like if it comes down to like, do you want me shooting again, like at your bear, just in case you don't lose it, you know what I mean? Because I mean these things can take bullets like crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm like, no, I think I feel good, you know what I mean? Like if he comes towards us, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But so I hit him perfect. I hit this bear perfect on this knoll, and then it rolled back. Like it hit it and rolled back like 3 or 4 times, chamber again, and then its head pop up. And then in the moment, I'm like, in that split, like it's probably half second, maybe a second, you know what I mean? Like, do I want to like headshot this bear? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I think I hit him good, like, but do I want to take it? So I didn't take it, obviously. So I'm like, and then it's behind this knoll, so you're like you saw it rolling, like it was rolling pretty good, but like in that second, you don't know, like so like, oh shit, like okay, so and we talk like, hey, I think you hit it good, and like it should be dead, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we couldn't see it because it was behind this maybe 5-10 foot knoll. So we're like, okay, so we'll go over there when we get closer. We'll just be guns loaded when we get closer, just in case. So we start heading over there, and then we kind of mark where we're at, and then I kept like ranging back. Once we crossed one more creek to get to the bear. So we were probably like, I think when we got over there, we were like 120, and like we couldn't find the bear. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like, just keep your eye out. I mean, he knew what he's doing, so I didn't really need to tell him anything. But I'm like, I'm gonna range mine back to where we're at. You know what I mean? And it was like 120 some yards. And I was like, we had to be pretty close. And then I was like, man, I'm pretty sure he's like a little bit farther. Like when we talked about it, because like when I arranged afterwards before we walked over there, and I got like 160. So like I'm like, I think you're ranging wrong. No offense, you might have hit something. So we went just like a hair farther, and then there lay the bear. I was like, oh, that, my heart was, especially on those kind of hunts.
No, I've seen so many YouTube videos of they hit him once, he goes behind a bush or behind a knoll like that, and then the next time they see it is when the thing's freaking running straight for him, and it looks like a nightmare, man. I'm like, holy cow! I don't know if I'd be able to hold my composure, but you kind of just have to, I guess.
Yeah. So we go up to it. No, it was. I think it was like a maybe 7.5 foot sow. So, but like I was happy. Honestly, I would wanted the other way. Like obviously everyone wants a big boar, but that hunt was like a grind. I actually have the skull right here.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yep. So then I have, let's see if I got, you kind of see the difference a little bit. I have my brown, and then here's my black bear right here. So you can
Oh
kind of
wow,
see
yeah, that's cool to compare.
here's yeah, so yeah, it's actually sitting right above my office.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I was thrilled for that.
Man, yeah, no, what a hunt.
Yeah,
That's obviously on the bucket list for me is a grizzly or brown bear up there. And
yeah,
I've,
yeah,
I mean, have you been up there a few times? And it sounds like in grizzly
yeah,
territory.
yeah. So I was on Kodiak Island. I think it was in 23 for a Sitka hunt. I did a Sitka hunt and like a cast and blast hunt kind of up there. So we shot all your sea ducks, and then we did Sitka and then fishing.
Cool.
I think like honestly, like it's already out now with Hush and everything talking about it. But like I think honestly, your Kodiak or Prince of Wales, like those hunts are probably your best bang for your buck in certain situations because a lot of time we did a boat hunt, so we basically stayed on the boat and then they brought us in on a dinghy,
Okay.
and then we go from there. But honestly, those are probably like best bang for your buck because you get to do 3 different things. And you usually it's like a 5, 6, 7 day hunt. You know what I mean? Like that was probably one of my honestly favorite trips. The deer hunting was tough, but it's a cool experience, especially to be on with some of the world's biggest bears on Kodiak Island.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
we
that's
actually, yeah, we saw I think 3 or 4 bears. Nothing monster. Probably the biggest we saw. We talked to the guy. He's probably like 9 foot. But the funny thing is, a couple of my buddies were like walked right through that area the day prior. So like the craziest thing is those. I mean, you think it's way easier to hunt them than it is. Like, but like they're stealthy for how big they are. I'll be honest. Um, like I don't know, they just move around, and a lot of those areas, it's just so thick too. Um, I just don't. Yeah, they're stealthy animals for how big they are. We
Jeez.
didn't have, we didn't have a problem too. I mean, I heard it, and a lot of people say it. I don't know if it's true too, but like when you shoot basically like a Sitka blacktail up there, they say it's like a dinner bell once you shoot because a lot of times you'll have your bear come over. A lot of locals say that. I'm guessing it's probably somewhat true depending on where you're at. But so basically the biggest thing is just getting it taken care of as quick as you can and separating the guts and everything if you got it or whatever as quick as you can.
Before you have audience.
Yeah, we didn't really have a problem, but at least when we killed some, but we didn't have a problem. We just saw them just roaming around otherwise, which was great. That's the way I wanted it. So
yeah, for sure.
but,
That's awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much longer of your night. One question that I like to ask people: what's your why? Why do you do what you do in the hunting world? What kind of drives you?
so I guess the biggest thing too. I mean, I don't have any kids right now, but I think I wanted to save this for generations to come. Like, I didn't think I would like my family. I mean, they hunted somewhat, but my dad kind of got out of it after his dad passed. So like I'm just proud he kind of brought me into it because I think it's the biggest thing, especially conservation in general. If you look back in the past, like early 90s, 1900s, mid 1900s, to where the elk, deer, whitetail, everything population and where it is now, it's like quadrupled 10 times, 20 times. You know what I mean? So I think biggest thing I just want to carry that on because especially nowadays, I think hunting in general is just under attack from everyone, all the antis, everything like that. But I mean, we've done this for centuries, hunting and everything like that. And I think the best way is to management. Anything is just conservation in general. So I think the biggest thing is just carrying this on. And another reason why I do it is just not many people can say they've been to these places in wide, remote areas in the world. You know what I mean? So like, I'm probably one of the few people I've been in that specific spot. You know what I mean? As well as like the people you meet, the culture. I think one of the biggest things why I do a lot of the international hunts is like every place is different, like different food, different people. So I think it's always cool to see. I'd say the road less traveled. I would honestly say because a lot of people don't do what we do, as well as they don't do what we do for the animals. You know what I mean? In general, for hunting, I would say, and that's kind of why I do it. I enjoy it, and it's also giving back to because I think in general, like I mean, I'd never want to hurt an animal, wound an animal like on purpose. You know what I mean? I just want a quick ethical kill, and I think 99% of your hunting population wants to do the same thing. But a lot of people don't see that. You know what I mean? I think we care more about those animals than most your non-hunters.
No, that's so true. No, it's an awesome perspective. It's cool to because I've always felt the same. Is hunting is a way of honestly protecting the wildlife, and if you're not in the circle, you just don't understand. And so it's like until people educate themselves, like they can't talk because they don't understand that it's actually helping. And so that's cool. It's cool to want to be a part of it, and keep it going.
No, I hear you.
But hey, I appreciate you jumping on tonight. I'll let you get back to your wife. We'll stay in touch. I'm excited to see what you got coming up next. And thanks again for jumping on.
Hey, no problem. It's always nice talking. I mean, it's always nice meeting like-minded people, like I said. So I always enjoy doing this stuff because like I would have never met you otherwise probably. So it's always great meeting new people and like-minded.
So true. Yep. I appreciate it, man. We'll see you.
Hey, no problem. Nice talking to you.